Warning, major.
Spoilers
ahead.
The Mandalorian, Chapter 22, Guns for Hire, or as I like to call it, Guns for Hire. I'm Candler, with me is Brian, and this is Grab the Remote Mandasodes. Brian, fellow guild member, great to see you.
Hi, how are you?
I am wonderful.
As always, we never talk unless we are staring at each other over a computer. We have not discussed this episode, and I frankly am starting to realize that I need to watch these episodes more than once before I see you. Do you see that? Do you feel like you need to watch it maybe a few times before we actually chat?
Brian, you had me at Battle Droid.
Super Battle Droid at that. There's some love story in this episode. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of love happening in this, starting with the prince. And
all right, so do you think they wrote that role thinking of Jack Black, saying, I don't know if we can get Jack Black. Let's
wait a
just
minute,
write
can we just let's get to Jack Black in a second, if you don't mind. I'm talking about the Mon Calamari. And
Forgive me. You're right. Jack Black played a captain. You're right.
A lot of love.
Right. A lot of love. A lot of
no,
fish
there's
love.
so much. There's so much I love. Now, hold on. No, I won't go. Listen, I laughed. That's not supposed to be funny. When that little prince ran through the door and said, "No, I won't go," I did laugh. I laughed out loud. And I didn't. Yeah. It's not supposed to be funny. But you have Axe Woves. Axe, you like that name, Axe Woves? So Axe Woves and his Guns for Hire. How many people do we think are on that ship before we find out that it's actually Axe Woves coming to get the prince?
All right, good question. Because I was thought, is it Moff Gideon? Is it Thrawn?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's Axe.
Misdirect. It's Axe, who we don't even know.
The guys, the one guy, Mandalorian, other than Din in the show, and that's not true, but the one out of the Bo-Katan group. But then he didn't show up for the ending of season 2, which we were wondering, where's that character? Where's Axe?
But, probably the actor was doing a play in England or something.
Probably.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't mean to take away from our delightful Jack Black and Lizzo sighting. And there's a few sightings here, but again, love is in the air, and I just hope that those two are able to get back together after they're taken away.
I think they'll be together again. I thought it was cool that the captain was underwater and then that tank went down. It felt like Star Trek to me, and I mean that as a compliment. By the way, it's April 5th today. Happy First Contact Day to all you Trekkies out there. But yeah, it had a Star Trek feeling at first, but then yes, it was a little ridiculous when it came out. I won't go. But yeah,
thanks for mentioning that. I love the nerd days; those are delightful, and we celebrate nerdy days. But this is also like we're a few days off from the anniversary of Annie Hall in 1978 Oscars beating Star Wars for Best Picture. Annie Hall beat Star Wars for Best Picture, and I think, and I've always
and it still hurts.
It hurts. Well, before we get to Jack Black, I want to talk about Epcot because that's where they went. Bo-Katan, Grogu, and Din go to a theme park.
Wait, I didn't get that at all. I didn't get Epcot. I got Logan's Run out of it, but I think Epcot is a better one. I like yours better though.
No, I like Logan's Run actually too. That's actually good. We can combine those two. Yes. And as you know, we've talked a little bit off to the side about my Disney experiences, so I can talk a little bit about Galaxy's Edge, but my wife's favorite is Epcot, so I'm very familiar with Epcot, and so I felt like this. And also, we had like the fastest People Movers. If anybody knows Disney, listen, Candler, People Movers isn't even a real ride, and I think People Movers is like my favorite ride at the Magic Kingdom. So they're on the fast People Movers. Of course, they meet Jack Black and Lizzo, and they're in love too. There's a lot of love happening.
A lot of
love. We're in love, and I guess Jack Black he's a treasure. I don't like saying national treasure, but when you talk about somebody who just seems to be wonderful,
he's a comedic treasure.
He is a treasure. Yeah, he is a treasure, and you can name all of his movies. He pretty much is himself. But any interview I've ever seen with him, anything I've ever seen him doing outside of that, of course, the camera's running, but he just seems like a cool guy, fun person, great. He's just. I'm glad it was great. It was great to see him. I guess you could say.
I agree. I would love to have half as much fun as it seemed like he was having in that part. And I feel like they had to have had him in mind when they wrote it. What
So.
do you think?
Well,
Do you think?
maybe so. I mean, I think at this point, if you're Favreau, you have your wish list. I mean,
Yeah.
does everybody want to be on the Mandalorian? Certainly, right? Anybody
Yeah.
who has a resume wants to hopefully say, hey, could you use me for anything? I mean, heck, I think Favreau bumped into Bill Burr at a party years ago and said something about a role, and that's how Bill Burr came on the show as Mayfeld, if I remember his name correctly. And we can talk about another treasure that comes up later, but
Oh yeah.
you had me at battle droids.
Yes.
That's a good line.
It's a great line.
Sure. And again, thank you, Jerry Maguire, 1996. Had me at battle droids. So this whole show, this whole episode is a way for Bo-Katan to get in touch with Axe Woves, and so it's almost like they have to do something. They always have to do something in order to get. There's always a hardship to get to the actual theme of the show, which is I'm gathering Mandalorians. So they have to go through this thing of they're droids that are malfunctioning, droids that are doing weird things. We see all these videos, and that's when we, of course, get to see Reverend Jim from Taxi, or your favorite, right?
Christopher Lloyd. He really is a treasure to me. At any time, any theater I ever did, any acting I ever did, I was a theater teacher for a long time and an actor for a long time. Mm-hmm. It's all because of Christopher Lloyd, who taught me eyes are everything. An amazing actor. I absolutely love him. I'm obsessed with him. And the idea that Christopher is now a part of Back to the Future, Star Trek. He was a Klingon in Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. And now he's a part of the Star Wars universe. I had a little nerdgasm. It was amazing.
Don't say that again. I love this last name is Hellgate. I don't think it's spelled Hellgate, but when you hear like Commissioner, is it Commissioner? He's like Commissioner Hellgate. Well, of course he's terrible, right? He's got to be evil. If you told me his name was Hellgate right away, we'd be like, well, this is the bad guy. Of course, Christopher and Michael will always be remembered for the trilogy of Back to the Future. We've gone through that extensively, but he's amazing, and he's getting, again, I'm not trying to do any ageism. He's getting a little long in the tooth, a little old, and so I'm glad that he's getting these opportunities to be able to do things. He's in the Disney security room. I'm going to still go back to Epcot because that's what I feel like Disney looks like in their underground bunker, looking at everything to make things safe and everything that makes things magical. So he's in the Disney security room going through all the details. I mean, again, this is a little side street. We find out, spoiler alert, of course, that he is a separatist.
Oh, I love Count Dooku. Ah.
Yeah, and by the way, Bo-Katan saying politics, which was great.
Yes.
So I know I jumped forward, and then of course we meet the Ugnaughts because we have to have to see the Ugnaughts down in the belly of the beast.
And Brian, belly of the beast. And Brian, we've talked about several times how much we love Queel from season 1, and what an excellent way to bring him back without bringing him back.
Den invokes. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Queel, right. Again, we're list people, but I know it's weird. I have 10 favorite characters in Star Wars. Queel is on my list. Period.
Mine too.
I hate that he's gone. I know I talk about that a lot.
He's awesome. He was awesome.
Yeah, just over the course of the only a few episodes he did, he was well. Again, let's go back to it. Well written. Anything that we're seeing that we like, that is because of good writing. There's a lot that goes into it. battle super. How do you feel about droids being in the morgue? There's like a morgue, a droid morgue. Like they pull out like the like. Do you put a droid in a morgue box? No, I don't. That's weird.
Well, if you can have a morgue, if you could have a droid bar, why can't you have a droid morgue?
Sure. I love they're like imbibing oil or what
Yeah.
are they? So ridiculous.
Yes, a lubricant, but I love it.
Favreau's doing some things in like just making world building. We've talked about just again universe building. I thought the crime scene tape was clever. The bzz, 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 whatever that looked like. That was interesting when they.
Yeah, the episode had a detective Law and Order kind of feel to it.
Sure, yeah, and just Den kicking battle droids until one finally can't take it anymore. We got a little techno union army.
I know, I loved it.
Is that Wat Tambor? You have a good Wat Tam. I'm not trying to ask you to do a Wat Tambor impersonation.
The Techno Union Army. Is that your disposal count? That's terrible, but I do like to do it.
So I've got a Wat Tambor figure. So they needed more Wat Tambor. I like saying that word over and over. Do you ever watch the previously? I seldom watch previously. I
always watch previously, and I started trying to skip because I've said this before. I hate the Disney Star Wars opening of Mandalorian because they do the recap and then I think they should just start, but instead they do that dun 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 dun. We're gonna show you these characters. It's Star Wars. You know what I'm talking about? So every time I try to skip it, my Disney Plus platform, whatever, will just freeze. It's strange. So finally, I have to watch it. But I've noticed they've taken out Kylo Ren. They used to have Kylo Ren in there. They don't anymore.
Now they're doing they're changing it up. Listen, if you want to get into
you don't think there's thought behind that they took him out?
Well, who knows? Like I said, always there's something weird going on behind the scenes.
Going back to the end of the episode. So Bo-Katan sees Axe and then she challenges him. And fans everywhere wondered, I wonder who's going to win the fight. And then she wins. Yeah. And then she's able to make a long story short, she's able to get the Darksaber. Is it weird that I was disappointed? I was looking forward to Mando doing more with the saber.
So on a technicality, but to your point, Din versus Bo-Katan would have been great. But then that's a bummer, right? That's like me and you having a hilariously bad stick fight. Like it's like
right. We didn't want him to fight because we like both the characters.
Yeah, it's like friends fighting. It's horrible, right? It would just be terrible. So I'm glad that they found a way to do that.
But I was slightly bummed that Mando doesn't have the Darksaber. I wanted to see more of him getting better with the saber. And he hadn't really used it this season, except for the most he used it was in the Boba Fett episodes on another show. But anyway, I digress. Predictions. We only have 2 episodes left. I'm bummed about that too.
There's not enough time to do anything, really. That's my issue because my prediction is we're gonna get it's like how The Walking Dead used to be. These huge setups to realize we got to have we're gonna have to wait a year to see another season. So in 2 episodes, are we gonna get a Thrawn appearance or is there a possibility that we just get IG-11 coming back?
No, I love IG-11, but no.
But what are your predictions? I mean, what do you want to happen? What do you think's going to happen, if anything?
I think we need to resolve the Moff Gideon thing one way or another. He's got to come back. Preferably, he would come back next episode, and then we have him for 2 episodes. I'd like to see Thrawn at the end.
Yeah, but to me, this has been I love it. What are you going to do? But to me, the stakes are low because we don't have any terrible bad guys. Like we need some, like Elia Kane is obviously in cahoots, but it's more on the surface. So everything that's happening is more so like it's getting resolved. You get Swamp Man Pirate. He gets killed and it's over. And that was our bad guy for the week. So you're getting into a little bit of the bad guy of the week piece. So I thought it was great when Moff Gideon had his arc because I thought he was fabulous. Thank goodness for Filoni and Favreau, which is that No, that's a drinking game for you. Now, every time I say something about Favreau and Filoni, you can take a shot, right? Like,
well, it's funny you said that. I was going to ask you, will we see more flipping of Grogu, and will it come to the point that it will become a drinking game of how many times he flips it an episode?
She's like, here's a shrimp. Here's wee.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Some people have criticized it, but I like that. I like the Grogu flips.
Is he gonna? So he's 50 years old, for Pete's sake. He's as old as us.
But he's still a baby.
Is he gonna say a word at some point? When is he gonna start talking? That's the best. That's the interest. I'm interested.
We'll see.
Will he talk? Will that kid talk?
I have to say, I'm still a huge fan of the show. Still loving it. Still a devotee, as you say. But I think, and ask me again in 2 episodes, but this is my least favorite season. At this point in season 2, we already had the Boba Fett episode. And we were going into the Bill Burr episode. So there was some fun, cool stuff that had already happened at this point. And we'll see. I hate that there's only 2 more episodes left. That first episode with the IG-11 episode where they tried to regenerate them or whatever, that was a weak episode to me. And that episode that should have been part of the show that was on Boba Fett, that still drives me crazy, but I still love the show.
Yeah, totally. And here we were in the mountains today, and we walked by this pub, and this was somebody did this chalk drawing. Can you see that? The chalk.
Good food and drinks. This is the way. Nice.
Nice chalk drawing. Somebody took a long time to do a chalk drawing of that, so they said, "Take a picture." I said, "Of course, I'll take a picture of that, and I'll talk about it."
Yes.
4 seconds. This music's great. I love the Mandalorian music. I love that Boba Fett music, man.
Me three.
You're bringing up Boba Fett, like this guy has done something. I mean, he has added to the John Williams collection. You know, no one's ever going to beat John Williams with the music he has put together in his career. But this is without stealing anything from what has been done. They have created a totally unique score that resonates with me completely. I love it.
Me three. Bow, 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 bow. Well, bow, 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 bow. It's cool. I'm gonna have to listen to it.
All right, can you do a can you do a Boba Fett? Can you do the Book of Boba Fett music?
Hi, Boba Fett. We have a girl and a boy on a bike. Yeah. Boba Fett could have been so good. It could have been so good. And I like some of the episodes, but oh man. All right,
take care. You sign us off. I'm only saying goodbye to you and that puppet back there.
I'm Candler. With me is Brian, and this is Grab the Remote. Like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.